Hello and welcome to another episode of Squirtified Engineering. I'm Sprutis, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing so you can stay up to date with all my different projects and segments. So it's time for another episode of Driving Home with Sprutis, and since the weather actually took a turn for the worse, we now have some extra snow coming down. But also it's still dark, etc. So we will have to do these episodes inside. And here I have one of my guitars, my latest purchase from a few years ago, a Harley Benton 7-string. And don't worry, I won't be playing for you. I only play because I think it's fun. But the topic for today is music, so that's why I have it here, just to set a bit of theme on this. So music is important for most of us, I guess. As far as I know, the note you hear when you're in your mother's belly is the G note. So that means that a song that is written in G is it's often favorable by many people. So that means that as soon as we start to become alive, we hear music, we listen to it. And the next stage would perhaps be in the lower grades of school, where you need to play flute or something else. Some of you may not enjoy it and you quit. Some may stay on, and some may take it up on their own later on in life. I'm one of the last in the last group. I'm left hand, but as you can see, I'm playing like a right hand. And like I just said, I started with flute and so on. My parents were kind enough to put me in, first keyboard, piano. It didn't go so well. We didn't have a piano at home, so the teachers, they were a bit angry about that. I only had a toy keyboard to practice on. But then I moved on to guitar, acoustic guitar, nylon string, the same one that my father used when he was young. It's a nice instrument, but I had some serious problems because since I'm a left hand, I actually wanted to play like this, but everything is written for a right hand guitarist. So what I struggled with was combining two chords. It didn't work. And so I got to redo the homework over and over and over again, and eventually quit. But then around the age of 13, 14, I picked up the guitar again because I had discovered tablatures. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a drawing showing the fretboard and also the numbering, so where you should press down. So it's a graphical way of playing songs. A lot easier to understand than reading notes. So yeah, that was the start of me actually learning to play 2 chords in a row. But there are way more aspects of music than just playing an instrument. We often have certain songs connected to special moments in our lives and so on. And I guess also that most of you can remember your first true interaction with music, your first idol, your first tape, CD, etc. I guess today's youth will they don't know what they are missing when you get to open you rip off the plastic and you open the CD case, for example, and you get the disc and you have this little mini book, and you have these you have the lyrics, or you have a text explaining something about the album and so on. And like many people of my generation, Michael Jackson was my first idol. I remember that I had a VHS tape of it was a concert, but I think it was black and white. So the favorite song, I can't remember the title of it, but it's the one with the kid from Home Alone. And another very clear memory is the first real album, which was a cassette. So and it was Rocksmith. The Look, the album called The Look, also the name of the title track. I think so, at least. But yeah, I guess you all have those kinds of memories. And one very special memory is, I think I was in 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there. And from my birthdays I had saved up these gift cards and some cash. And Blood and Gang was coming out with a new album, Hooray for Boobies. So I took my bike, I rode half an hour to the store, half an hour back, and I put it on my dad's stereo. He wasn't at home, of course, and I cranked up the volume, listened to it. But it was a different thing when you had to do something in order to play the music. It's not 2 clicks and it's on. You had to turn on the amplifier. You had to put in the disc or cassette. You found a nice place to sit on, and then you listened. You actively listened to the music. I guess today it's very easy to just have music as like a background thing. For me, I'm mostly listening to music when I'm in my car, since I have about 30, 40 or even longer commute to work. So in the car it's very convenient with having these streaming services, and I'm using the YouTube Music, which was previously Google Play. So I find it very easy. I do prefer Google Play over YouTube Music. It was better in many ways. And the good thing is that it has become so easy to discover new artists, new genres and so on. And what do you think about that? Do you prefer the old school way? Do you buy CDs still? I actually do buy CDs. I mean it's lossless. As soon as you get something from a streaming service, it's compressed. I know that you have Tidal and you have FLAC files, so you do have ways of getting lossless audio files. Lossless is, of course, meaning that you have not compressed the music, anything. So MP3s, if you see the curves, you cut off the tops, so it takes less space. So I guess we are back at lagom. You do need the modern ways of accessing music, but the old school ways are more true to the artists. And if you go even more old school, then I guess it would be going to concerts, which is also a completely different experience than listening to it in your home or wherever. Yeah, it's on that topic. I have a very, very special memory. One of my favorite bands is, of course, AC/DC, and I've seen them once. I saw them with my dad, and we were actually able to get the tickets the same day as the concert was going to take place, and it was for the Black Eyes, I think. And of course I had my AC/DC t-shirt on, although a fake one that I bought in Prague. But anyway, me and my dad, we were walking somewhere, maybe to get some cash or whatever, and there were a lot of people around us who were going to attend the concert. And a guy, he noticed my t-shirt and he did this. So this is something that Angus Young does, the lead guitarist of AC/DC, and it sort of set the mood for the rest of the evening. I was among equals, sort of. We were all there to appreciate the band and listen to the music and enjoy that. So that was really cool. And of course it was even cooler to see them live. Nothing beats that. But I would have preferred to see them back in, I don't know, the 70s, when they were young. Yeah, that would be quite cool. Another band that I've seen is Kiss, and the performance they made, it was amazing. It was so professional. And for Kiss, the Kiss concert, the opening act was Europe, a Swedish band. And I mean, I've heard them growing up and so on, but I haven't really listened to them actively. But after seeing them open for Kiss, I basically went home and ordered 2 or 3 CDs directly. It was Last Look at Eden, Really, really nice album. I think they had grown a lot since the 80s stuff. So a bit more of what I'm into. But the first band that I ever saw was NoFX, so the punk rock band, and that was really cool. And a few years ago they came to Sweden again to play at Gröna Lund. So I went there with a few friends and we saw them. And have you ever heard about the mosh pit? Where people just jump around in front of the stage, jumping into each other and so on. Yeah, for the longest time I thought it was a Mars pit. I don't know why. I think I just heard it incorrectly. But yeah, that was fun. So one of the things that I will do after the pandemic is to go to a concert. I was actually going to I actually was about to see Leo Moracelli from Frog Leap Studio, so the band that he's in, a Norwegian guy, but then they had to cancel everything, so I didn't get to see them, but hopefully I will be able to do that soon. Please let me know in the comment section what kind of concert memories you have, if there's something special that you will never forget, or are you perhaps playing an instrument yourself? Yeah, so I have a few guitars. This is my 4th or 5th guitar. I bought it when I was working in Graz. So I was then living in a hotel in an apartment room. So I placed the order from Thomann in Germany, and I was paying with a Swedish credit card, and the delivery address was in Austria. So they got a bit confused, so they actually called me up to see if this was correct. So they called me from Sweden because of the credit card. But it worked out fine. I got the guitar, a case, some picks. These are amazing. Deva, it's a gel pick. But the thing is, you have some ridges in the middle, and it's sort of the same material, I guess, both the black and the purple, but you always get a good grip with these. So these are easily my top pick. So one of my favorite bands, or maybe my all-time favorite band, is AC/DC. So then you have Angus Young, who's playing on a Gibson SG, and you had Malcolm Young, who was playing on a Gretsch. But so my first electric guitar was an Epiphone Les Paul Standard, who I bought from a friend's dad. I got to take it home and test it out, and I was actually able to borrow a small combo amplifier from my school. A combo guitar amplifier, or an instrument amplifier, is a combination of amplifier and speaker all in one. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And yeah, so I bought the guitar, but I had to return the amplifier. So me and my dad, we went to a store that was Förstärkardoktorn, so the amplifier doctor. And we were going there just to look at different amplifiers and see what's available and so on. But we walked out of the store with me buying a Behringer V-amp, the first one. And it's line 6 pod, if you know about that. So this was a cheaper alternative. You have amplifier modulation, you have cabinet modulation, you have effects, you have MIDI controller, stereo output, headphones, etc. So basically you had everything you needed in that box. The only problem was that I was limited to headphones, and that's not fun. So my first setup was that V-amp and a tape player, and not the small cassette, but actually the big tape. So I would play through that. A small speaker, but it served its purpose. And then from that it became a car stereo amplifier, because I had the preamplifier inside the V-amp, so I only need the amplifier to control the speaker. And we bought a speaker, like a car speaker, so it was, I don't know, this wide, 2 10-inch woofers and a horn. So we cut it apart, made 2 speakers out of it. So then I had my guitar amplifier. But eventually I needed something better. Well, something proper. And back then we didn't have Blocket. So we didn't even had eBay. But we had the yellow pages and the for sale pages in the technical magazines and music magazines and so on. So my dad actually found an ad for 2 Fender amplifiers combos. So both were twin reverb. And we then took we brought my guitar and drove over to the owner, who turned out to be an impressive musician. So he had actually used these 2 amplifiers in a stereo setup, and he was an organ player, and it was really amazing to see him play, because I mean, he was jaw-dropping good, and he had this Leslie cabinet. Look it up, it's really cool. It's a revolving speaker, but yeah, he played a bit for us, and his wife actually said that he used to be better, but he had, I think he had a stroke or something sometime earlier, so he wasn't really playing as good as he used to, according to the wife, but it was still amazing. But we got to test out the amplifiers with my guitar. They didn't really enjoy the distortion and so on. I had, of course, the V-amp and so on, but we ended up buying them. So proper tube amplifiers and originals, not reissue or something like that. So a bit of a piece of history almost. I can't have it here, unfortunately. When I was playing at home at my parents' house in the summer, so the tube amplifiers, they get very hot. So I of course had to open the window, and I was playing in my boys' room, and when my mom came home, she said that she heard me as soon as she got off the bus. So yeah, it was loud, but so much fun. Yeah, so it's not really suitable to have in an apartment. My neighbors would not be happy at all. Not even the neighbors in the houses next to this house. So that's a shame. That's why I want to go back to living in a house, so I can have my music stuff. But the evolution goes on. So my all-time favorite game, well, almost, is a game called, it's not Guitar Hero, no, it's Rocksmith. So it's like Guitar Hero, but you connect a proper guitar or a bass. And so you buy the game either for a console or computer, and you get this MIDI interface which is connected via USB, and the latency is very impressive, because if you ever done any recording and try to use a USB sound card, then you know that the latency is quite a big of a problem. So but for some reason they've managed to do something very quick with this. And yeah, they have licenses for all the songs, and of course they have an enormous library where you can buy songs. So I have it both on Xbox and on my computer. There are actually sort of 3 versions. You have the Rocksmith 2014. Yeah, so it's old. And then they made like a reissue version, remastered. And the cool thing, if you have basically both of them, because the Rocksmith 2014 got upgraded to the remastered one, but if you have both of them on Steam, you will actually get the songs from the first one into the newer one. So you only need to start one game in order to play all the songs. Yeah, so I'm buying the songs for my PC setup, and on the Xbox I have those that came with the game. And actually I bought it as well for my new Xbox, not the latest Xbox, the Xbox One. It's cheap, and since I already have the USB interface, it's not really a problem. You can find the cable on eBay, for example. So that's what I did for Sid when she bought her guitar, the red one that you've seen before. We got her a cable from via eBay, and with that we can play 2 at the same time. So one can do lead and one can do rhythm, or you can both do the same, or one can do guitar and the other bass. So it's a lot of fun. I just don't have enough time to play it as much as I'd like. And it's lacking one thing, and that's the 7-string setup. That would be fun, because I bought this, well, that's another story. So I was looking at buying a new electric guitar, and at the time I was listening a lot to Korn, I was listening a lot to Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, and so on. So Ibanez was the brand I was looking at, and then we found EEB did exist by then. So we found a GNL Invader in the US, and GNL stands for George Fullerton and Leo Fender. So Leo Fender sold off the Fender company, and then he started a new company together with George Fullerton. So to be technically correct, the GNLs are the last true Fenders. So this was then instead a 6-string, it had a real Floyd Rose. It had the nut, so this piece here, it was locked with the screws, and the Floyd Rose tremolo, it means that the lower stable you can flip it with the tremolo arm. So that was of course cool, and yeah, it but so I put the dreams about the 7-string to the side then and cut this, and then the problem came. It took forever to get the guitar to Sweden. We thought that we had been fooled, but it turns out that instead of going with plane, it was going on a boat transport. And I do find it a bit fun that the customs and tax amount that I had to pay for the guitar was 666 crowns. Maybe some sort of a sign if you're into those things. Yeah, so then we move forward, and I was getting a guitar to have in Graz while I was working there. So, and by then I had started to listen to Leo Maracelli, Frog Leap Studios, metal covers, and I thought, well, I might as well go for a 7-string. So yeah, that's why I chose this. So I wanted to learn this, but it's tricky. All the muscle memory I have is from a thinner neck. So I guess the next guitar will be an 8-string to make things even harder. But yeah, as long as it's fun. And if there are any guitar players watching this, what do you prefer? 6-string, 7-string, 8-string, 12-string, acoustic, steel, nylon? What are you into? So basically, to wrap things up, music is very important for me, and I guess it's very important for you as well. We always have it around us somehow. Creating music or playing music on your own have become a parallel track in my life. So it's always, well, since I got my first guitar, it has always been a big part of my life, and always been in parallel to everything else. And to clarify things, I did actually start on electronic music, Rebirth and so on, but it felt a bit too easy. I think I might offend some of you, but in all honesty, I feel that it's harder to play an instrument than to just to do the sequencing. Of course, if you're actually creating music, then that's a different question. But if you're just taking pieces of pre-recorded stuff, cutting them up, putting them together and calling it your own, then yeah, I'm not so much for that. I want real instruments. So yeah, I hope that you will still stay on with this channel, but let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section. And thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Stay safe. Take care. Bye bye.